facing a seemingly hopeless situation, perhaps a terminal or complicated health condition. Well, the story of Lazarus remains one of the greatest miracles of all times. One that defies scientific logic. I often imagine what it would be like if I was a modern physician or doctor there to share the experience of Lazarus' resurrection. Well, I am going to imagine this would be my story. I received a doctor's house call to see a man named Lazarus who had been sick for a week. On my arrival, his sisters are looking exhausted, their faces are edged with fear. I examined him with my stethoscope, a raging fever, slow pulse, possibly swollen limbs, shallow breaths, and within minutes, he's gone. Lazarus is dead. Now, ideally, I would listen for a heartbeat, check his pulse, pupils fixed and dilated as expected, and by every standard in medicine, Lazarus is dead. It's unlikely that CPR would be helpful at this point for resuscitation. And as expected, the sisters are crying, but then they keep repeating a statement that unsettles me. If only he had been here, Lazarus wouldn't have died. Now, they aren't talking about me or medicine. They are speaking of a man called Jesus, who I probably must have heard about his performing insane miracles, healing sicknesses and diseases without medicine. Now, as a physician, that would sting kind of a little bit. Would anyone truly heal without medicine, without training? Of course, as a certified physician, I would probably have dismissed the stories as exaggerations or more likely some kind of mind manipulation or just sheer ignorance. Well, it gets more interesting because 4 days later, I'm invited by the family as a courtesy to pay my respects to the deceased, Lazarus. The family is at the graveside with a crowd of family and friends. And for the first time, I do see this Jesus everyone talked about, grieving with the family, and I watch as tears run down his cheeks. But he says something I couldn't quite hear, and I watched them roll the stone away. Now immediately I braced myself for a stench because I know what death does to a body after 4 days. Organs are broken down, tissues decaying, bacteria with maggots lead to putrefaction, which causes this horrible smell. And of course, obviously, Lazarus at this point is beyond hope. But Jesus steps forward. His voice rings out strong and commanding. Lazarus, come forth. And then there's this silence. From the darkness of the tomb, a figure emerges wrapped in burial clothes, stumbling forward. Now my heart is pounding, my palms are sweating, my mind screams, impossible. It was Lazarus. He's alive and whole. I draw closer to touch him in disbelief. His skin is warm, his eyes are clear, the signs of illness is gone, as if he's never really been sick. Now you would understand that as a doctor, I can imagine I'd have sleepless nights with what I saw, because even if such a miracle was possible, it needs a little bit of time for the cells to reconstruct, the tissues to heal, the organs to recover, for the blood to circulate. But his resurrection happens in a second. I'll probably be trying to force God into the limits of my textbooks. Now, the story of Lazarus clearly shows that God is not bound by biology or time. What takes years for diseases to destroy, God can restore in just a second. If he can raise a man dead for 4 days, then he's never too late. Time doesn't limit him. Science doesn't confine him. When he speaks, even death must obey. So I'd have to say, even as a doctor, I encourage you, dare to believe beyond our scientific limitations, even in the most hopeless of situations when you think the situation is beyond salvaging. God can turn a situation around in an instant, and even dead tissues, dead cells, dead organs can come alive in seconds. dare to believe. You know, as a medical doctor, I do understand the limitations of our science, and I have seen miracles, I've experienced myself, and this is just an encouragement that whether it's sickness, a health condition, a financial situation, a relationship problem, a marriage problem, issues with your kids, God is never too late. And even if it took years for things to get really bad, in a moment, in an instant, God can change the situation and bring back hope and joy to your life. Thank you.